This is the all-new 2023 GMC Canyon, and this is not just any Canyon, this is a Denali edition. But you have a decision to make with new pickup trucks, which one to buy. And General Motors just unveiled this, the new Canyon, but there's also the all-new Chevy Colorado. So how do you know which one to buy? Well, you come to the right place, because in this video I'm gonna compare and give you some of the more popular options that you can get in the Canyon versus the Chevy Colorado. So let's begin. First up is style, because I think it's important the way a truck looks, because in the morning you walk out to it and you see it, and here's where there's a huge difference between the Canyon and Colorado. In the Canyon family for 2023 and beyond, all of them get this LED signature that continues between the main lamp and this daytime running lamp up above, and of course the main headlight is down here. And all Canyons are actually wide body trucks. I mean, it's not like a Ford Raptor wide body, but still there's a dramatic difference between where the top of the fender is and where the bottom of the fender is over the wheels, because all of these are, so to speak, off-road capable. The bedside, once again, slightly wide body, bulging fender, but you won't mistake this for anything else. This looks like a Canyon, it is a Canyon. And the Colorado, well, let's look at the front end and the tail lamps on the Colorado right now. Bam! And this is actually mine 2023 brand new Chevy Colorado. So let's take a look at the styling. You've been magically transported to Colorado, Boulder, Colorado. But the front end is drastically different in my opinion. So of course, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I personally like the Canyon a little bit more. I think there's, at least on the Trail Boss version of the Colorado, there's a little bit too much blackish plastic here in the front. There's a little bit of color down below. The tow hooks are black. I don't understand that on a Trail Boss, why that would be the case. And also very basic headlamps. This is a more affordable truck after all. But let's walk towards the back. Let me also show you the tail. And of course, this is nitro yellow color. I actually like this more than the Canyon because there's a lot more lines here. I think it's a little bit more attractive. I think they did a great job with the rear end of this truck. So if I could combine this with maybe LED lamp with a Canyon front end, I think that would be a perfect mid-size truck. All right, let's take this brand new Canyon on a drive and see what a truck like this does on 20s. I haven't driven a Canyon Denali in a while. Of course, they had that trim in the previous version of the Canyon, but now it's reborn. Just a few years ago, the Canyon Denali was born, and most people thought, well, is that gonna work? Can a slightly more premium mid-size truck work? And now the Denali is not even their top trim. As far as price is concerned, AT4X is actually has more capability for off-road and more equipment, and is also more expensive and has a different interior. So the Denali is not even the top. I'm in two-wheel drive. It revs to almost 6,000, and that was 60 miles an hour. Yes, I'm in North Carolina near Asheville. This is the first drive event, and so it's not high elevation of Colorado where I normally test. But actually this Canyon Denali drives like a crossover would. That's difficult to do because it still has a rear solid axle. But the way they tuned the suspension, they did extend the wheelbase, of course, versus the previous generation by about 3 inches. They pushed the front axle line forward, giving it better approach angle, but also the longer wheelbase, which is now 131.4 inches, I think makes the truck a little bit more stable. It doesn't understeer. The steering feel, of course, is not great, but it doesn't matter for a truck, in my opinion. But the ride quality is actually quite remarkable, I would say. Let me drive my truck and on a similar road, and let me see how it compares. This is mighty nice. I think this is going to be hard to beat. So, does the new Chevy Colorado Trail Boss drive the same as a brand new Canyon Denali? Well, let's find out. they do share a lot of components. The chassis is the same wheelbase, same suspension design, they're the same width, same height, but wheels and tires, of course, are different, and potentially some of the shock design and or tuning could be different. So let's find out. This is, of course, a first drive, a street drive. All right, let's see how this 310 horsepower engine does. That's about 50 miles per hour. It's very quick. And this is a mile above sea level in North Carolina, where I was driving the Canyon. Of course, the elevation was a little bit lower. So the power levels are very similar. The suspension, I gotta say, I've been going over a few rougher spots, and I prefer the Canyon Denali. I'm surprised by this. I thought the off-road truck, this Trail Boss, with a little bit bigger sidewall, would be more comfy and a little bit more squishy over some of the road imperfections, but it's not the case. And yes, of course, we'll talk about price in a little bit, because that's a huge part of your decision. But when you're buying a more premium truck like the Canyon, you would think you would get premium power. And it's the case here, because every new 2023 GMC Canyon comes with a high output version of the 2.7 liter engine. And in this case, it's 310 horsepower and 430 pound-feet of torque. This is the only way you can get this powertrain. There is no more diesel, there is no more V6, and it's made it to an 8-speed automatic transmission. And actually, most new Canyons, you cannot even buy in two-wheel drive. This Denali, four-wheel drive only. AT4 Canyon, four-wheel drive only. AT4X, of course, four-wheel drive only. The only one in the Canyon lineup that you can buy with a two-wheel drive is the base elevation model. So they're kind of going more off-road capability in the Canyon lineup. All right, what about powertrains? The engine. Well, there's not a lot of difference between the Canyon and the Colorado. Although, since the Colorado is a more affordable option, you have three different power levels from this 2.7 liter four-cylinder turbocharged engine. There is a base one in the work truck with about 260 horsepower. There is this one, which is the mid power level at 310 horsepower and 390 pound-feet of torque. And there's also the high output version of the L3B engine, which is also in the Canyon. So not a lot of differences between the two, and also probably not a lot of differences in terms of fuel efficiency. Depending on configuration and tires, they're about the same on efficiency. So you might be wondering, Andre, why are you comparing a luxurious GMC Denali Canyon versus a more basic off-roady Colorado Trail Boss? Well, because in my opinion, the Trail Boss is one of the more popular Colorado trim levels, and the Denali is actually one of the more popular GMC Canyon trim levels. And you can see it immediately in the quality of the materials, some of the quilting and some of the touches. I think this nice and subtle, but yet feels actually premium, including the perforated leather here that's ventilated and of course heated. So let me show you some of the other touches. If you notice the side vents, they're really trapezoidal here, and there's a nice chrome ring that goes around it, and all Canyons have this touch to them. Of course, this is a special Denali, so it has the GPS coordinates of the mountain, Denali Mount McKinley, and soft materials here on the dash, where your knee touches on the right and the left, wood trim, and of course quilting here, but still here, hard plastic on top. That's my only kind of hitch with this. Also, no rear camera mirror. So I don't know if it's just this one that doesn't have it, but I would expect at the price level of the Denali, that I'll tell you in a minute, you might expect a little bit more. All right, let's take a look at the interior of the Colorado. Surprisingly enough, actually, this section with a gauge cluster binnacle is almost identical. I think they are identical to the Canyon, but there are a lot of other differences. Once again, the theme continues. This is a more affordable, simple truck, so there's a lot more black plastics throughout. Still a large screen here in the center. Many features are digitally available, and of course including maps, wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. That's all there. In the center, though, there's a little bit of cost cutting, because unlike the Canyon, this is an 8-inch digital display, not the full width digital display. So there's a few differences there. And also the vents. This is a dramatic difference in style. So this is a circular vent, sort of inspired by a Chevy Camaro or the Chevy Blazer. And the Canyon has, of course, those kind of trapezoidal vents. But I wish I had a few more colorful or nicer touch materials here on the inside. The seats, though, are quite comfortable. They're about the same comfort, although this seat is manually adjustable. Once again, a more affordable truck. But I did pay extra for the Evotex material. So this vinyl, this premium, it's not leather, but it's this premium vinyl material, which actually feels pretty good, was about $1,250. This truck did not have built-in wireless charging, but I solved it with a quick little holder that's also wireless, a wireless charger. You have to talk about payload. Right here for this Denali truck, it's 1,314 pounds. Actually, not too bad for a 4x4 mid-size truck, but I'll show you what the Trail Bus version of the Colorado is capable of as far as payload. And you'll of course see that when you add the sunroof, when you add power seats, see the controls here? All those things, including the nicer materials, of course add weight, and that takes away from your payload. This is a big selling point for the Colorado versus the Canyon, because yes, you don't get as many luxury features, but you have more payload. 1,514 in this particular case for this off-road version of the truck. Yeah, that matters. Every pound matters really in the truck, because that means you can bring more stuff in your bed, maybe invite more friends. That matters a lot in my opinion. Maximum towing capability, however, is identical between the GMC Canyon and the new Chevy Colorado, with a proper power plant like a mid-engine option on the Colorado. The high output version like this Canyon has maximum towing is 7,700 pounds with a proper towing package. And I love the fact that they have wiring for trailers, trailer app, and an integrated brake controller, all included. Either you get the Colorado or the Canyon. I love the way the truck looks, especially on these 20-inch wheels. I think it sets it off just right. And of course, this is where the GMC Canyon and the Colorado can differ. This option has this 33-inch tire on a 20-inch wheel, and they've updated the hub design on both of these trucks, so there's still 6 lugs, but the pattern is equivalent to what would be on a GMC Sierra 1500 or Chevy Silverado 1500 truck. So of course you can get your own style. Let me show you the Colorado style, and you can tell me which one you like best. Wheel design, of course, is also subjective, but this is an 18-inch wheel, blacked out with silver lug nuts. I kind of like this contrast. This is an 18-inch wheel versus a 20 on the Denali. I really like the Denali style, though. That wheel is super, super cool. But I'm really happy that I was able to equip the Trail Bus with this tire from the factory, the Goodyear Wrangler Territory MT. I was really looking for this aggressive off-road tire. I was able to get it. It is aggressive, it throws rocks, so I added aftermarket silly mud flaps. This is how everybody knows you're driving a Denali truck. Bam! Right there in the center. The tailgate is dampened. It has this cool feature, a little bit of storage inside the tailgate. This is optional on the Colorado. I'll show you that in a second. The way you get in the truck, there's a handhold here, and there's a kind of side step in the bumper. You can jump into the bed. By the way, the bed is steel, so steel floor, steel sides. But also I wanted to show you that, of course, this premium truck has rear defrost and it has a window, but this is manual. I think this is a little bit odd for a premium Denali truck like this. I would expect it to be powered, but in this case, it's manual. I don't have a dampened tailgate. That's another thing I might add aftermarket, a little strut here. I got it bed lined. That cost me about $620 with taxes, and I did add this tonneau cover. This is an aftermarket one I found on Amazon, so this is not a GM performance or accessory part. I just did it myself. In the name of saving money, I do not have any opening window in the back glass. Also no defrost. I do have my sticker, and also I do not have 360-degree camera views. So those are more upscale features that you could option a Colorado with. I did not. And of course it's available on the Canyon as well. Actually, the Canyon and the Colorado share one thing that I don't like. Of course I love Apple CarPlay wireless. But what I don't like is, for example, you want to reset your trip meter and you have to go under vehicle info, trip, you have to find that button on the right and then reset your trip meter. I mean, you have to dig through menus. And then also, I don't like that the headlight switch is up here and it's also digital. I think there should be a hard switch for that. That's just my opinion. But the cool part is all the other tech you get, including air down mode. Who would have thunk on a Denali you'll be airing down your 20s? But you can do it. The way it works, you set it, you start, and then you let the air out of the tires and the truck will honk its horn when you reach the desired pressure. This Canyon Denali is equipped with Bose system, a premium stereo. I don't have that, but let me show you in the Colorado. As you can see, I do not have a fancy Bose stereo system in this Trail Boss Colorado. Of course, you can equip a Colorado with a nicer stereo, but I did not. And the quality of the stereo is not the best. I can even notice it not being an audiophile. So of course, if that's important to you, you should option that up in the Colorado or just get the Canyon. Look at how nice the steering wheel looks. Nice material. Oh, and look, this has cruise control. Oh, it's been such a debacle for me that I didn't select that package that adds cruise control on my Colorado. I don't want to beat this dead horse, but I'm still working on potentially retrofitting my truck with cruise control. Let me show you the rear seat in the Canyon. Yes, you can lift it up. Yes, there is a little bit of storage under here. There are these structural plastic components, which I don't like very much because it protrudes into the storage area, and I can't really store a lot of things here. But what I do want to show you is that, let me get in. I'm going to sit kind of behind myself, which I can still do. My knees hit a little, but I have headroom. I can do this. I have my own cup holders here, armrest, and ventilation. The seat back doesn't fold down. I do not have an armrest with cup holders. The seat does flip up. It's the same mechanism. And here, as you can see, the space is fairly limited. So the rear seat design is very similar, but I'm super thankful I have HVAC vents right here for the rear passengers. Well, now we come to a very important point, which is about price. The new GMC Canyon starts at just over $38,000. It's about $38,300 for an elevation trim of this with two-wheel drive. Yes, it's more expensive. It's about $9,000 more than a work base two-wheel drive brand new Chevy Colorado. So is it worth it? Well, let's take a look at a few things. First of all, you get slightly higher body height on the base GMC truck. You got wider fenders because of that wider stance on the base GMC truck. You also get high output engine on the base GMC truck. So you're getting some more trim and capability on the base truck when you compare it to the very, very basic work truck. What does this Denali cost? Well, it starts at about $52,500 with a few options that this has. It's up to about $56,000, which is a pretty steep price. And if you look at the entire range of the Canyon, so it goes from about $38,000. Then the 4x4 elevation model is about $41,500, all the way to over $60,000 for a fully loaded AT4X Canyon. And the price range on the Colorado goes from about $29,000 before destination for a base work truck two-wheel drive, all the way to about $48,000 for a Chevy Colorado ZR2 which is one of the most expensive ones. And then of course the ZR2 Desert Boss takes it to almost $60,000. So both of them are in similar price ranges. So of course the final question, which one would you pick? Well, that's for you to decide. If it was my money again, I did choose the Colorado Trail Boss. I think I would still stay there. It's because of that basic price that I'm a fan of. But if you really love the way the interior feels, some of the appointments, I think you should also look at the GMC Canyon. Well, thank you for joining me. Check out oldtfl.com for everything automotive in one place.